as a clinical licensed social worker, what are your thoughts with the coronavirus and how some people might be feeling right now? I know a lot of people, especially as the weeks go by, are feeling overwhelmed. What do you make of that, and what would be your advice for people?
Well, I think that's really normal. First of all, I think that people are feeling overwhelmed. They're feeling a lot of anxiety. There's some depression that sets in. Marital issues, couples issues are popping up more because we're spending more time with our spouses and significant others. So it's really normal, first of all. So, I think what I would encourage people to do, number one, is practice some good self-care. And so that's doing things like uh, having good structure for yourself and routines. So if you normally would get up and take a shower and get ready for work, but now you're working from home, I would get up, take a shower, get ready for work. Some people may not get dressed fully from the bottom down, but at least if they're on the screen, to be dressed and ready for work. Um, I think also having some routine to go outside at least for 30 minutes a day and get some exercise. Walk, run, bike, but just get outside and move your body. Um, be mindful of what you eat and keep hydrated is also really, really important. Connections. One of the things that's so hard is that people are feeling disconnected from other people. So again, I don't like the word social distancing, but physical distancing. So you can go for a walk, someone as long as you're staying 6 feet apart, or connect like the way we're doing over Zoom or FaceTime or Skype. There's so much technology now that we can really connect, also certainly just by the phone, but there's something about visually seeing people. So that's really helpful. If you have children, play with your kids. Have some time to play with your kids. Play, have fun. I discovered something yesterday that was really fun. John Krasinski, who is from The Office, he has a show now on Facebook, I found it, called Some Good News. And he interviews different people, and it's all about good news. So now I know we're on the news, but I do encourage people to limit the amount of news they take in because it can be overwhelming. I also think this is a good time to develop some practices or do some things that you've wanted to do for a while and didn't have the time. So mindfulness, and we can talk a little about mindfulness, but mindfulness practice is really, really helpful in general. But I have a quote I'm just looking at: the past and future are in the mind only, and I am now. So if we can work on staying in the present, because I think what happens for people is we start to think about, and I can do this too, start to think about, oh my God, how long is this going to last? And that thought can just create a lot of anxiety for me. So I have to bring myself back to being in the moment. What can I do now? And take one day at a time.
There's a lot of people out there who maybe are used to seeing a therapist or have been through this process before. So maybe they're familiar with some of the things that you're suggesting, but there's other people for them, this could be their first time experiencing a serious bout of anxiety or depression or loneliness. What would your message be to those folks?
So my message would be, one, to normalize it, that this is really an unprecedented time. And so it's really normal to feel anxious, depressed, lonely, especially for people that live alone. This is even more of a challenge. So I would say it's normal to feel this. So if you find that doing some of the things that I suggested, and there's also, I had shared a mental health wellness tips quarantine list, so I don't know if that's a way that you can make it available to your listeners. But if you find that through reaching out to other people, talking to people, working on practicing some mindfulness, getting out, moving your body, if those self-care tips isn't enough and you still find that you're having trouble sleeping, trouble focusing, getting depressed, Then the other thing you can do is reach out to a therapist and just use that opportunity to talk about all that you're experiencing and develop some strategies for it. There's no shame in doing that. It can be really helpful. And so, but I think to keep in mind that it's normal. A couple of other tools that you can do. There's a wealth of information on the internet. You can look up people like Tara Brach, Tarabrach. She's a psychologist and teaches lots of meditation. So she has meditation and talks that are very helpful. Jack Kornfield is another. There's a podcast called Live Awake, and there's a particular episode called Learning to Surrender that's really lovely. So you could, if you've always wanted to practice meditation and mindfulness, this could be a really good time to start to practice that.